In this video, we'll talk about file permissions and ownership. In order to explain how that works, we'll use cat and echo commands. Cat prints the file to the standard output. We'll talk about cat more in future videos. The second command is echo that displays a line of text on the screen. We'll use the append operator to redirect the output of the command to a file. It will add the output of echo command to the end of the file. If the file does not exist, it will be created. We'll talk about input-output redirection and pipes in one of the future videos. At this moment, we just need to be able to easily write some data to a file. Going back to permissions and ownership. If we list our directory with ls-l, we'll see two files and a folder. Let's look at the first 10 characters on the far left. First character indicates the file type. There can be various file types, but we'll focus only on dash, that is a regular file, and d, that is a directory. Next three characters indicate permissions for the owner of the file or directory. Another three characters indicate permissions for the group. Last three characters indicate permissions for everyone else. Let's focus on the owner permissions first. Depending if it's a file or a directory, the permissions are different and mean different things. If the object that we are checking is a file, then the first character indicates read permission and it's identified by R. If R is there, it means the owner has read permissions, and if dash is there, it means that the owner does not have read permissions. Let's see how it works in action. I try to display file 1 and file 2 on the screen. I was able to read file 1 and list its contents, but I was not able to read file 2 as it's missing permissions to read. Next character indicates permissions to write. Let's try to add some text to file 1 and file 2. As expected, we can write to file 1, but we cannot write to file 2. Please mind that we could add write-only permissions without read permission. Owner would be allowed to append data to the file, but not read what's inside. Let me show you. In order to modify the access permissions of file 2, we'll use chmod command. It goes like this. Chmod u to indicate we want to change the user section, +sign to indicate we want to add the permissions, and w to indicate we want to grant write permissions. Write permissions for the user that owns the file has been added. Adding data to the file works. File size has been increased. Let's try to read the file. As expected, we cannot read the file due to missing read flag. I'm adding read permissions for the owner. File has both a read and write permission set. Let's try reading the file now. Works. Last character is the permission to execute. It can be either a binary file or a script with a list of commands in particular scripting language. Let's create a file with echo hello inside, so that if we execute the file, it will run an echo hello command that displays hello on the screen. Let's do that by redirecting the output of our echo command to file 3. File is there and has echo hello inside. Let's try to run it. In order to do that, you need to provide full or relative path to the file name. There are a few other ways to run a command, but we'll talk about it later. As you can see, we got permission denied. We cannot execute the file. Let's grant execute permission with chmod +x for the owner and try to run the file one more time. We got hello output. Please mind that in order to run the file, we need a read permission. If we revoke read permission with chmod command, and U that indicates the owner minus R to indicate that we want to revoke permission, and try to rerun the file, we'll get permission denied. It's not because we don't have permission to execute, but we cannot read the content of the file. In other words, to run a file you need both read and execute permissions. One last thing to mention is that you can remove a file without any permissions. The reason for that is the file is an entry inside the directory. So as long as you have permission to write to a directory, you will be able to delete any files, even those not owned by you. If we speak about directories, R, W, and X permissions have totally different meaning when applied to a directory. Read indicates that you can list the contents of a directory. I'm listing the folder without any permissions. No luck. Let me add read permission to the directory for the owner and rerun list command. Okay, now you can see the contents of the folder. Please mind that read permission alone won't allow you to list attributes of files inside the folder. Moreover, read permissions won't allow you to enter the folder. In order to enter a folder, you need execute permission. That will allow you to both read all the attributes of a file inside and also go inside the folder. Please mind that in order to list file attributes inside the directory, you need both read and execute permissions. If I revoke read permission to the folder, leaving only execute permission, I will be able to go inside the folder, but when I try listing the folder, it will fail due to lack of read permission. So, we need both read and execute to go inside the folder and list files there. Now, the last attribute is W, that stands for write. When it's applied to a directory, it allows you to create and remove files inside that directory. Let's first try going into the folder and let's try to remove an existing file. We cannot do that. We have read and write permissions to that file. We are the owner of that file, but still we cannot remove it because we don't have write permissions on the folder. We have the read and write permissions on the file, so we should be able to print the contents of the file on the screen. Without write permissions on the folder, we also cannot create new files. Just to recap, write permissions on the folder allows us to create new files and remove existing files from that folder. Let me grant write permissions to that folder and try creating a new file and removing the existing file. Write permissions on the folder has nothing to do with reading or writing to an existing file. Like you saw, we were able to modify existing files without having write permissions to the directory. We know what read, write, and execute permissions mean for a file and a directory. We also know how to use the chmod command to grant or revoke permissions for the owner. What are group and others permissions for? Let me explain. Every Linux user belongs to one or more groups. The default group assigned to a user when it's created is called the primary group. We can check which groups the user belongs to and which group is the primary group for the user with the id command. Let's create a new group and add our user to that group. At this time, let's not worry about those commands. Only important thing is that we did create a new group and added our user to that group. Changes to group membership are not visible in the current session. We need to log out and log back in. Let's check the group membership with the id command. Now we are also members of my group. Going back to our files. As we know, each file has owner, group, and all others permission. In order to demonstrate how group permissions work, let me change the owner of the file and group of the file to root, that is the super user. I will do that with change owner command. Sudo executes the command as super user. Change owner expects the owner, group, and then the file or directory name. Why do we need to execute this command as super user? By default, you cannot change the owner of a file or a directory to someone else without administrative privileges. Let's try to read that file. We cannot do that because only the owner of that file has read permissions and we are not the owner. Root is. Let's change the group of the file to my group. Let's try reading the file now. Still no luck. We are members of my group, but the group does not have read permission. Let's add read permission for the group with chmod command. The owner of the file, that is root, has read and write permissions, and all members of my group, including us, have read permission. That should be sufficient to read the file. Indeed, we can read the file. Just to recap, every file and directory has an owner and a group. Users can belong to multiple groups. If a user belongs to a particular group and this group has certain permission to a file or directory, then user can operate on the file or directory according to granted permissions. There's also the last section called the others. Others are the all users that are not the owner nor member of the group. We can grant them permissions if needed. This is pretty flexible mechanism. Let's briefly go through the chmod command. It's used to change access permissions to a file or a directory. First, you indicate which group of permissions you want to change. U stands for the user that owns the file. G stands for group. O stands for all others. A indicates we want to modify permissions for owner, group, and others all at the same time. Then we put a plus sign to indicate we want to grant permissions, or minus sign to indicate we want to remove permissions, or equal sign to indicate that we want to set the permissions to an exact value. Then we have requested permissions R for read, W for write, and X for execute. We can separate those with comma. At the end, we specify the file or a directory that the permissions update should be performed on. Of course, wildcards are allowed. There's also a very useful flag -R that will update the permissions recursively for all files and directories inside the specific directory. Here are a few examples from the manual. There's also a much quicker way to set up permissions that requires some practice, but after you master it, you will never go back. Every permission has a number. R is 4, W is 2, X is 1. So if we want to grant read, write for the owner, read for the group, and no permissions for the others, we could do it using letters or numbers. RW equals 4 plus 2, that's 6. R is just 4, 0 indicates no permissions. That's a very fast and convenient way to change permissions. Just memorize those three numbers. Regarding change owner command, it usually requires administrative privileges. Only root, that is the super user or a user with administrative privilege, can change the owner of a file or a directory to another user. A regular user can only change the owner of his own files or directories and cannot change the owner to another user. Hence, all invocations of change owner in today's video were prepended with sudo command that basically says execute the command as root super user. Change owner command is pretty basic. You can either change only the user or user and group. Change owner command also accepts -R option to perform recursive change.